Discovery 3. A dead end, a talking mouse, and a milk carton. Breckan ran. He ran as fast as he could, beneath flashing white lights and along sterile-looking walls, within which more metal doors were set. Finally, he came to a door at the end of the hallway. It looked bright and orange, in stark contrast to the blank walls around it. He pulled the painted metal handle of the door with all his might. Closed. Of course it was. Then he pushed and pushed, but still the door would not budge. His vision blurred. He felt as though the door were mocking him, laughing at him. He wiped his face. It was slick with tears. And then Breckan slammed his hands against the door again and again and again, and again, and again, and again. Sir, you're not allowed to be here." He swiveled around to see a man standing behind him, a man he did not know. A little ways behind him was Zoot, looking on sheepishly. "You!" Breckan shouted. "You ratted me out." "I did not," said Zoot. I swear." "Sir, I'm going to have to ask you to cooperate." The man reached for him. "Get your hands off of me!" Breckan shouted, twisting away. But then he realized, where am I going to go? He sagged against the wall and buried his head in his hands, sobs heaving his body. He let himself be pulled away from the door. He refused to meet Zoot's eyes as the unfamiliar man led him back to his room and closed the door behind him. Breckan was all alone. He'd sat down on the floor again, cross-legged and miserable. He was still sitting there when he heard a small voice piping up. "Hello? Help!" Breckan blinked. It sounded as though it was coming from the window. He stood up, his legs sore and stiff, and made his way over to the red curtains, which were billowing slightly in the wind. The window's open. I hadn't even noticed that yet. He looked down and saw he was about one floor up, above a courtyard with not much yard in it. It was completely paved with stone. Unfortunately, he didn't see any way out of it, apart from another metal door without a handle. They're not dumb, he thought. But where had the noise come from? He didn't see any people in the courtyard. No, there was no living thing, except a tiny mouse scuttling in the corner. Don't be ridiculous, he told himself. But then the mouse opened its little mouth. "Hello, you upstairs." Me? Breckan felt the room sway. This was too unreal. Yes, yes. How can I get out of here?" You can talk. But you're a pet. Pets can't talk." "Squeak! Stay with it, will ya? I need to know how to get out." Well," he swallowed, "how did you get in?" "Through a pipe." "Too small a pipe for me, I suppose." "Yes, you are a trillion times the size. Now get me out." "Sorry, little mouse. I'm trying to find the way out myself." Then the metal door opened, and the unfamiliar man who'd taken Breckan back to his room appeared in the courtyard. Breckan froze. "Squeak!" squeaked the mouse. The mouse started running away, but the man quickly seized hold of it. "Madam, you're not allowed to be here." The mouse struggled fervently, but the man held her firmly by the neck. "Come along now, little mousie." The man and the little mouse disappeared behind the door again, and Breckan froze. He felt dizzy. Maybe I should eat more tomorrow, he thought. When he finally fell asleep that night, he dreamt of mice running around in circles around him, and of Zoot, smiling at him from a photograph on the wall, his hair now completely black and both his eyes blue. The next morning, Breckan got a few pancakes in his room for breakfast. They looked just the same as the pancakes he used to have at home, but it didn't feel the same at all. As he was eating them, he heard a knock at the door. Hmm? It's me, Zoot. Hmm. Breckan still wasn't sure how he felt about Zoot. The picture of him he'd seen in his dreams. He knew he'd seen it somewhere before. I'm sorry about yesterday, said Zoot from behind the door. Can I come in? Hmm. Okay, said Breckan. Zoot opened the door, smiling apologetically. He took off one of his shoes and jammed it between the door and the doorway to prevent locking himself inside Breckan's room. Then he sat himself down on the floor in front of the door. I had to promise the guard not to let you out again, else he wouldn't allow me to visit you. How come you're allowed to go out? I've earned my door handle privileges, said Zoot, but he didn't look too happy when he said so. This made Breckan worry. What exactly had Zoot done to earn this? But I'm not allowed to go much further than you, really. Just down this hallway, and there isn't much there except a slightly bigger bathroom than the toilet you've got in here. Hmm. Breckan had decided he would not tell Zoot about the talking mouse. At least, not yet. He hadn't even fully wrapped his head around it himself. And besides, what use would that info be to anyone, really? Hello, Zoot. There was a talking mouse. Okay, what do you want me to do about it? And your room is in this hall, of course, said Zoot, trying to fill the silence. Was there anyone in this room before me? Oh, yes. There was this girl. I called her Mo. She got adopted, they told me. I do miss her still, but I'm glad she got to move on. Don't you have any parents, then? Asked Breckan. Zoot shrugged awkwardly. Then something dawned on Breckan, but it dawned at the edge of his mind, just out of reach. Hey, Zoot, I think I've seen your face somewhere before. I doubt it, said Zoot, suddenly nervous. No, I'm sure. He stared into Zoot's eyes, willing himself to recognize him. I think you must be mistaking me for someone else. I think I'd better go. See you soon. Zoot hastily stood up, yanked his shoe away from the door, and hopped into the hall on one foot, not even bothering to put on his shoe. He closed the door. And then Breckan realized he'd seen Zoot's face in his own home, at the breakfast table. Zoot was one of those missing milk carton kids.